Okay, we are back to doing our enhancement products over the antique paint, and I'm going to show you one of my personal favorites next. We've done the wax, which you can see is very uniform. We've done the glaze, which gives you a little bit more movement and more contrast, and now we're going to do the crowning touch. And this is a paste. It's not liquidy like the glaze, and it's not tacky like the wax. It's almost the consistency of mayonnaise, but it's got a beautiful color. There's a zinc that's a kind of a silver gray. There's smoky bronze, which I'm going to use now, which is like a Van Dyke brown. It's got a little bit of gray and it's super neutral. There's cast iron that's black. There's Midas that's gold. So many different effects you can get. The thing I like about the crowning touch is because of the thickness of it, it doesn't move around a lot. You don't have to worry about it running or moving around too much. And I personally really like to have the contrast between the deep areas of my project and the surface areas, and this gives that effect more than anything. I have done several pieces of furniture that have beautiful carving on them, and all I'll do is pounce crowning touch around the carving, wipe off the top of it, stipple it out, and then I take the residue that's left on the towel and go over the rest of it, and bam, good to go with my clear coat next. So it's one of the easiest finishes, and since I do a lot of furniture, I'm all about easy. So let me show you how fun this is to work with. Again, I've got my wet towel, and I've got my brush for application and my nylon bristle stippling brush. Same tools that I used with the glaze, but I'm just going to do it a little bit differently. So it's thick, so I just use a little bit on the end of the brush. I don't want to get too much, and work it into this. You will find that the crowning touch has a tiny, tiny bit of a metallic sheen to it. It's not, you know, glitzy, but it's just enough to make it slide easily when you move it and give it a lot of life. It doesn't look like a drab brown or a drab gray. And I don't do as much of a surface area with the crowning touch as I do with the glaze or the wax, because it does dry and it's got more pigment in it, so I want to be able to work it. So I just have a flat surface, and I'm just going over the top of the area so the dark stays in the rest of it. And if it gets too dry, you just use a little bit of your clean wet rag to move it around. And you do have a limited amount of time with this, so again, do a small area at a time. Don't try and tackle the entire side of a dresser with this. Just do a little bit at a time. You'll find you get into a rhythm, and this is about 10 inches I guess I'm doing here, and that's just about right. And I'll do my 3 motions: applying, rubbing with the towel, and stippling, and it just goes so quickly. And I'm personally having kind of a shabby chic moment in the projects that I'm doing, and I find that the crowning touch really gives that look because it looks aged. The lighter parts stay lighter and the darker parts stay darker, so it looks kind of French. I'll take my nylon brush and I'm just taking what's in that crease and feathering it out a little bit. And then I can take what I've got left here, if I want some color, and just do a little bit. And I'll do this on a piece and work an area, use the residue, wipe it, work an area, use the residue, wipe, and I can use what's left just to give a tint to the top surface of my project without having to actually apply any crowning touch to it. So I'm going to take advantage of this little crease here. If you get on that Vintage Market and Design Furniture Paint Addicts Facebook page, which is addicting in and of itself, you will see how many times I'm on there saying, have I mentioned that I love crowning touch, because this is just awesome stuff. Okay, again, I've got a nice little section here, so I'm just going to use this and move it. And don't rub too hard, don't overwork it. The crowning touch is also wonderful to do hardware with. A lot of times I'll get a piece of furniture that has a beautiful shape, beautiful carving, but the hardware is a bright shiny brass, and that's not what I want to get my antique look on the piece. So I will actually stipple crowning touch in this smoky bronze or cast iron on the hardware and let it dry, and then clear coat it, and you can totally change brass hardware to look like a nice oil rub bronze effect. You can see just how fast it goes. And I'm getting a little bit too much residue there, so I'm just going to take advantage of that and move it over here. Get a little bit more color on my edge. A little in the center. Go to a clean, wet part of the rag and pick up the rest of it. And if you rub a couple times over the same area, you'll pull off quite a bit more. But you put on some good music, get out your crowning touch with your painted furniture and spend an hour, and it's better than a glass of wine. You'll be nice and relaxed. And I always try and keep my fingers flat, so I'm not picking it up from the area that's underneath. I'm just getting the very top surface, the top here and then the top of the curve. I think that's a hair from my dog Peanut. That's signature in all of my work. There we go. And that is crowning touch. How easy is that? So you can see a lot more contrast between the high and low areas. Very antique looking, more movement here, more homogeneous there. So we have one more finishing enhancing product to do, and that's Grunge it. So let's see how we do that one.